run, achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne.
Good evening, Coach David. We have a problem. We need to reconnect your LinkedIn. And can you stream to your LinkedIn from your?
Yeah, I'm actually streaming to my LinkedIn.
Okay.
It says I'm live here.
Okay, so I've lost access to your LinkedIn here. I don't know why. So I can try and stream. I can try and turn that to my LinkedIn instead.
Okay.
I don't know why. Because there's no point us both streaming to your LinkedIn, is there? Okay, so Coach David is there. Oh, so I've got my Facebook, and then so I'm live on that. So it's your LinkedIn there that we need to remove. So, do we delete on LinkedIn? No, we just remove. And let's remove that from the stream, and then let's add mine instead. I don't really like to stream to my channel to link to more than one LinkedIn. Otherwise, we get all confused. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Okay. All right. Let's advantage, save changes. Okay. All right. So you're streaming to your LinkedIn. I'm streaming to my LinkedIn, and you can see the events live on your channel.
Yes, I can see.
Got too many tabs open all at once. I've got way too many tabs. Okay, so we're here. I'm looking. Oh, I told you, didn't I? I told you. Yay!
What's up?
Don't worry. You know what we're just talking about, the scores.
Yeah.
One just came in. Two just came in. Yes, both number ones. So my joy just lives. I've achieved my goal.
Oh, that's cool.
And to be so happy and say this will be her success for this latest title being bestseller forever.
Oh, that's cool.
This is joy, right? So are we live on your channel?
Yeah, because I can see myself on my Facebook wall.
Okay, are we live on your LinkedIn?
Yes.
Right, so we're not live on my LinkedIn. I'm trying to see us on my on the LinkedIn event stream that we have already, which is really upsetting. I don't know why we're not. Maybe because I've changed from your profile to my profile.
Okay.
That will create a slight problem.
We can log in.
Login is you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. So now send me the logins on my on the WhatsApp DM. That way we don't change anything. Just put the login in there.
Okay.
I'll have to log out of LinkedIn. So sorry everyone. Give us tech issues are playing up with us today. So give us a couple of minutes and then we'll fix what's going on, what's going wrong. And then we shall reconnect and we should go again. But I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. Yay. Yeah. These days are full of I'm anxious half the time, but until we get the results we want.
Yeah.
That's how my life goes, my friend. So I'm going to log back in now. Signing with email. LinkedIn may well say it wants a code, but if it does, then we'll fix that. Okay. Yeah, I got the details. Why StreamYard would lose detail? I will lose, the login, the connection. I really don't know. It's trying to pretend it doesn't recognize your password, but your password hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't. Oh, it says you're still about to start.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Okay. So do the codes. You send me the code on WhatsApp again.
yes, I sent it to you on WhatsApp again.
Okay. So now I need the code now. Did you send a verification code?
No, just a minute. Oh, just a minute. That'll probably be by email. Okay, I just saw that. Just a minute. You get it shortly.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, just sent it to you.
Yeah. I think this is a reflection of our conversation today. I think
All right.
I think we have to learn calm.
Yeah,
I have to learn how to be truly calm to get
yeah.
to where we want to get to.
We want
Right.
to get it. I agree.
So I'm going to remove me. I'm going to put you back.
Yeah.
Where's Coach David on my list? There you are. Yeah. Let's hope this works. It should do. The stream's really live. You can't edit the schedule. I don't want to edit the schedule. I just want to go live.
Mm-hmm.
It's still saying StreamYard right now. That's your destination. So allow. Yeah. Now you're reconnected. Okay. Are we live now on LinkedIn?
Yes, let me check again. Yes, we are on LinkedIn.
So excellent. Now we're live on LinkedIn. Means we're live everywhere else as well.
Yes,
So we try again. Welcome. Michael, we just see you in the room. I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Michael. Michael's a star. Michael's truly a star. I don't say that
Michael,
loud.
thank you for coming.
So now I feel I've been standing all day today, but our friends are here, Coach David. They're here.
Yes.
Who's here? So there's loads of you. Michelle, welcome, Michelle. Glad you're here. Verena. No, the link is not working. Okay. If the link's not working, my friends, the only thing we can do is send you to our YouTube. I guess that's the next best thing, right, Coach David?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it? No, it's not. What if? Is it working on? Is it working on YouTube? Let me just go to my channel. Yay! The unseen advantage. Let me see. Yay! We're working. We're alive. Yeah, I can see you, Coach David, looking glorious. Your shirt's great, but it's black, so it doesn't really, it doesn't stand out. We have to see the colors properly. So, right, Verana. I will do my best to DM you the link, Verana. That way you can see. Here we are. Okay, right. So join.
Oh, Lena says she can see us now.
Can you see us?
So she can see us now.
Okay, that's all right then. So we'll fix the problem. Look, if you can't join us on LinkedIn, then by all means, please do join us on my YouTube channel. It's the same show, really. It's the same show. It's the same show entirely. Really, it's the same show, right? So there's many comments. I will work through them in a second. I want to send some more. Right. To join the show, that's all. That's all. Join the show, and then there's join the studio. Ashok wants to connect. I don't understand. What's happened to my inbox? My inbox looks rather weird. I think three. What's happened there? I'm seeing messages from Saturday and Thursday, not today. Today's Friday, right? What's happened? Right. Coach David, whilst I'm sorting myself out, please tell our friends who you are.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Coach David Adeoye Abodrin. That's my full name, but Coach David is good enough. I'm a life coach, an intuitive life design coach, done different kinds of the coaching spectrum work, coaching and therapy work, covering about above 20 decades, worked in different industries and different capacities over the years. But the key for me is in all of these experiences, what has been the secret to genius or success as I've observed. Literally, this is my third decade of work, but serious, heavy professional work is just about 2.5 decades. I worked in construction, worked in technology and IT, worked in oil and gas. I served at very senior executive levels in telecommunications and marketing communications. I was a director with the largest marketing communications group in West Africa at some point in my career for about 5 to 6 years, and then went into some deeper studies in how man has been created and how we're formed as human beings, which has always been a passion of mine from my teenage years anyway. And I'm excited to be here so much. Been here, done that, be around the corner, and I've done some heavy research, and I'm about to share some of those insights with us today. One of them is around intuition and creativity. Having worked in different places, I've seen intuition and creativity work in different dynamic ways. Super amazing work. I've not mentioned I've done some work in law enforcement and helped law enforcement organizations all over the world create a certain level of success in criminology and all of that. And I've got 2 master's degrees, one in cybersecurity, threat intelligence, and cyber forensics. And the other one is an MBA from the Hart International Business School. I seldom talk about these experiences, not to bring people, because it's not about the degrees or the emblems, it's about the results and how you actually use these things to solve problems. This for me is far more important. So I don't talk about those credentials once in a while. I don't know why I'm talking about it this evening, but that's who I am on that side, and I'm excited, much more excited to be here because of Annie, who is the grandfather of LinkedIn, a very good man. I've gone beyond the accolades and the title. One of my strongest inspiration is, I think, is Robin Sharma, the monk who had no title. So Annie is a wonderful example of a man of impact and titles. And I see my thank you. I see Michelle. Thank you. Emeka. Thank you. You're a great brother. And I see Sumaya, lovely sister of mine. And then there's Dr. Manuela from Ghana and Verena. These are my good people. I'm sure Dr. Maka is somewhere. I would like her to come to the studio. Michelle, everyone, God bless you all. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone that's joined us. I can see many of them. So Verana, I can see you as well now. So Dr. Emanuela, I see you too. We've never met. We should. Michelle, thanks for being here as well. So Emeka, I was just about to send you lots of the link to join the studio. If you want to join the studio, you're more than welcome. Dr. Sumaya,
Yes.
that was the name wrong. I'm glad you're here as well.
Yes,
You
Emeka, Verena, Sumaya, I would like them to be in the studio. They're wonderful people. And Dr. Mark.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you all the link to join the studio. I'm going to put it into your DM. So please do join us. It might take me a couple of minutes to get that done. If we're not connected already, I will send you the link in what looks like a connection request. That's the best I can do, right? So I just put, please join the studio for Coach David's Your Unfair Advantage Live. We're showing how to cultivate your intuitive intelligence for success. And it's StreamYard link. So now if you click on the link, you come in the studio. Of course, if you want to have your camera off, you certainly can. But you have to enable your camera before you can join the studio. You have to enable your mic or camera before you can join the studio. You can't have both off. When you join the studio, you can turn your camera off if that suits you more. And I promise you, we won't see you if you don't turn your camera on. People still worry, Coach David, that we can still see them through magic power. And that magic powers that we haven't got. They think we can still see them. And even in the days of audio, people used to think I can still see them, even though they had no camera. I'm not that good, right? I wish I was. Look, for those who don't know me, my friends, my day today is one of my greatest days, and the day will come for Coach David as well. Why do I say such things? Right. See, my life is, I spend my life to make my friends who do amazing things famous. That's why I describe it, right? I want everyone to know about my friends' genius, the genius and how they help. Now, if anyone knows Coach David knows he's a genius, especially at his topic. And he's got 3 books. I want the world to know the genius he shares in those books. I said number 3 is the one we're focusing on, right, Coach David? The one about your prophecy. If you look at the flyer for today's event, you see there's we're talking about almost your destined, your gifts. So your prophetic ecosystem is how Coach David describes it. I say is that belief that you have, a destiny, a special gift for the world. And when someone says things like that, I'm like, how does it work? And if you can explain it to me, and I can see how it helps the world, then I'm more keen to get to your message to the world. So I'll help you do events like this. But if you've written a book, I love you even more because I want to publish your book. If you haven't written a book, I want to help you write a book, and then I want to publish a book, and then I want to help you sell your book. Right. So today is one of those amazing days. I get to launch one of my clients' books. We're launching Laverne's book called "Late to the Game but Winning." It's a memoirs, but a life story and important lessons learned type of book. It's talking about how she plays the game, how she's played the games of life: marriage, parenthood, home ownership, career development, blah blah blah. Right? How she's played those games and is winning. It doesn't matter how late you are to the game, as long as you play the game and you play it in earnest, you can be successful. So as we launch that book, obviously I'm trying to get people to buy the book because part of my book launch service is to make my author an international best-selling author. I say all that because in approximately 3 weeks, going to be doing the same thing for Coach David. It could be 4 weeks because remember we had a date problem, didn't we, Coach David?
Yep.
So we're going to be launching Coach David's book. It's book number 3, The Prophetic Ecosystems and Dynamics.
Yes.
So that's what we're here for. And what we tend to do on this, in these pre-launch events, is have conversations around the topics that are in the book. That way you get to know Coach David, the genius. You also get to know him as a person, and you get to connect with him. You get to, I guess meet him, talk to him. Now, don't let him get away with trying to sell you his book from a distance. Meet him and see who he really is. If you can help him, I'm sure he'll be keen to help. He'll be keen for you to help him. If he can help you, then again, let's be open to supporting each other and doing our intuitive genius, really, our genius within that we can share with the world. That's what we're here for. Coach David, I think I've done enough talking. I will share the link for Leverne's book if you want to support. If you want to buy the book, it is $1.99. Dr. Amaka, you buy all our books, Dr. Amaka. Why have you not bought this book? You haven't sent me a confirmation. You have to send me a confirmation so I can see the book either in your Amazon library or I can see it somewhere that says you bought the book.
Yeah.
So welcome all of you. So Michelle, I see you as well. Not Michelle, Crystal. So Crystal, welcome. That's now Crystal is a super author herself. And she's one that definitely supports other people. Of course, Michelle B, I see you too. Thank you all for being here. I'm sure I've missed many of you. I had to restart. I had to restart my computer. Right, there's a couple of people in the studio, Coach David. Should we talk to them, or should we talk? Do you want to set the scene?
No. Let them come in, and then we will start the conversation. I'll start the conversation. Just about 5 minutes, and then we take it from there. I see Emeka, the good Emeka there.
And I see everyone is welcome, right?
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Bless you, Annie. I hope you have a cup of water close by. There's a second person in the studio. I can't see the name, but thank you for coming.
That's Michael.
Oh, Michael. Michael is a guy. Thank you. Michael is a good man. Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate you. Big salute. Emeka, thank you. Emeka is a super powerful young man doing amazing work for agriculturists in Africa and Nigeria. He's one of the people who I personally pray for because Emeka needs to live long because of many farmers. He needs to, I believe he needs 100 years to do his work. He's a crusader in agriculture, and I think blessed is Africa because we have him. I've spoken to him up close, and I'm not flowery with those words. He is doing amazingly, and he has my prayer just like any every day. Any cannot die quickly because all my books must become bestsellers. And really, if you think about it, how many people want you to live long? And that's a measure of your impact. So how many
really?
How many people want you to live?
We want you to live long too, Coach, for sure, right? I guess I laugh because the issue we have is that live long these days for our generation could living to 120, 130. That's too long.
Yeah. I tell you don't also want it to be too long.
That's too long. Give me 70, I'll take. 130? No.
What are you looking for?
To rest, to sleep. Emeka will come to you in good time, my friend. You get a chance to respond, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Emeka. Michael, good to see you again. Michael is such a connected soul. So I have the wisdom of when I meet you the first time. All I need, whether on phone or physically, because I've learned how to develop my intuition in the past 40 years thereabout. Because I am above 40, I am actually in the mid 40s, if you want to know. So I started my journey as a teenager about 13. That gives me about 3 decades. And for whatever reason, I started in psychology. My dad had a very large library. He still has a large library, even at his age. Please just give me 30 seconds. My dad is a reader. He reads everything and anything. And they're about the age of 13. About 10 actually, he started me on the idea of reading newspapers, and he was very, very insistent on it. I read every single day 4 newspapers because the vendor would supply them, and then he would have me discuss each of these newspapers with him. I read a chapter of Proverbs, a chapter of Ecclesiastes, and I'm going to tell him what it means. And we did that in 30-day cycles following the Proverbs one. Proverbs is 31, so it was 30-day cycle, and I will read the 31st chapter in the evening. And this time, by the age of 10, by 11, 12, it become a stable thing. Then he started me on some very strong books. I think it was Robert Schuller's book, Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do. The second one is Reverend Dr. Newton Sidney Bremer. I think that's about positive thinking. No, Vincent Norman Peale is about positive thinking. How to Get What You Want is Reverend Dr. Newton Sidney Premier. Is it Premier or Bremer? I can't remember. A couple of books, 3 books. I know those books end to end. They are really the mother of most of the works that you see Anthony Robbins do. And so he started me very solidly on the path of success. And my mom on the other side ensured that I read a lot of novels. Now, this thing I started between 10 and 13 gave me understanding of concepts like the human mind, the difference between the mind and the soul, the idea that we are more than intellect, we are more than the five senses, and that our senses is what we are trying to school when we go to traditional school. By 13, it was clear to me that human beings are more than just physical attributes. I've done loads of work over the years added to those initial foundations, and I can tell you that we are superhuman beings. There is no human being I've met without amazingly incredible potential. I don't want to go into my own personal experiences because it can feel it as book, but I want to use the mic to Michael and Emeka and every other person. I like Dr. Emeka. I know Verena will probably have to be at work in the morning to also come to the studio. But before then, let me just say a couple of things. You see, man was born with infinite capital and capacity, and then before you had the chance to meet that capacity, you met your parents. I'll say that again. Man was born with infinite capital and capacity, but before you had the chance to meet that capital or capacity in the first 6 to 8 months of your awareness, then you met your parents. So you never met your original self. And so some capacities lost there because you never met yourself. It will take many years into adulthood before a lot of us will begin to meet ourselves. And then we met our friends, we met family. Some people have met their spouses, some met their jobs. I met 70-year-old people who never met themselves. And when we talk, after about 10 minutes, and I introduce them to them, they're always wowed. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are incredible. If anybody is up to the challenge and I just tell you about yourself in about 10 minutes, it's too much. 30 seconds. Now, meet you immediately. I tell you by yourself, you're going to be very much afraid because you are created with amazing wonder. Amazing wonder. There's no human being that's created less. Even with the sicknesses like a lack of cognition, or there is something with your intellect when you were born, you're still incredibly gifted. I can back this up by research. So that's first. Number two, beyond words, we are able to connect and communicate. But you see, something happens to us in schooling or the Abraham Maslow school. Our intellect, our abilities with the five senses dominate our development. Our eyes, our ears, our skin, those five senses that we train dominate our capacities. And so the other intuitive and inner parts of us are recessive. Entire schooling system grows this one. Yeah, good to meet you here, Crystal. Crystal Phoenix, thank you so much. Michelle, thank you. I can see you guys in the comments. So let me just quickly say that. The other thing is, how does a nursing mother know that her baby, I'm going to give us about 5 examples. How does a nursing mother know that her baby is crying at home? Now, I was very young when I observed that my aunties, when they give birth to children and they came to visit us, you hear them saying things like, my baby is crying at home. And those days, there was no GSM. 90% of the time, they were right. In fact, 100% of the time, they were right. How did they know? They were in the market. How did they? Thank you. They just feel it. Thank you for that, Michelle. They just feel it. Now those are very thank you. Yeah. Krista says, my boobs will tingle almost. And that is the sign that your child was hungry. Not only did you know your child was uncomfortable at home, a mother would say he or she, the baby is hungry. Now, those are natural. That's to tell you that there's communication systems. There are bodies of intelligence within our beings that's beyond words. You see, at the height and the zenith of human civilization, words and language, syntax are liabilities to meaning. I don't want to sound too deep all at once. At the height of human intellect and capacity, words, human constructs, language are liabilities. Meaning is passed mind to mind. The mother knows that her child is uncomfortable, and she can even describe the uncomfortable signal as being hungry. You see women literally in the marketplace where I grew up, they would touch their boobs and be like, and they say, oh no, I need to go home. I need to go home. My baby, there is a tingling. Some will say they're having secretions in their body. They say they are itchy iffy. And they said, and there's no GSM, there's no phone call. Before somebody says, hello, where are you? In Africa, we say, mommy Emeka, or mommy Tunde, or mommy this, or daddy that. That's how we call each other in Africa. So why are you uncomfortable? Say, oh, Jide is uncomfortable at home. Jide is uncomfortable at home. I need to go and meet him. How did she know? I saw that as a teenager of 13. In one case, there's one, my mom used to have a provision store. I followed this aunt home because our house wasn't too far from the store, because I carried stuff for her. The baby was crying and crying, and we were hearing that the baby's cries from the main room. And she was telling my mom, she was talking to my mom, that my baby is crying at home. How did she know? At 13, I saw this in my eyes. It didn't let me rest. I began to study this thing. The things I came up with is why we are here this evening. I want to give us number 2 example. My own dad, if he tells you that, pick that glass cup from that table, it's about to fall. Everybody better pick it quickly. It will follow. Now, he is not any churchy person. He will take his 2 bottles of stout. Even when we lost my mom, the evening my mom died, and people were crying, my dad said, well, you need strength to cry. Say, tomorrow is the major money day. For today, get me 2 bottles of stout. I mean, my siblings were like, no. I'm not supposed to have given life to Jesus Christ. You know what we say in church? My dad said, look, they gave birth to Jesus with me when I was born to Christian home. I've been drinking stout before you were born. I'll take my 2 bottles. So he's a social man. He likes 2 bottles of stout in the evening. He's going to always take his, nothing you can do, and he's very healthy. So the man took his 2 bottles of stout and was gisting me and was telling me a few things about life. So I asked him this question that day. I said, how do you always know things before they happen? He said, well, he would just look at something and then he will occur to him that thing can fall. And he said over the years, he found out that image that he saw or he sees will eventually happen. And there are many of us like that on the call. We feel it, we know it. 30 seconds before they happen, that something is about to happen. And it's only after the fact you know that you don't have data, you don't have statistics, you don't have anything. There's nothing in the immediate environment that says that thing should have happened that way, but it happens. And all human beings have this. Now, when you now begin to grow it, for example, if you're not a Christian or a believer, and your spirit man is now renewed, you now have a chance to develop it more. We have a whole lot of institutions that help people develop this understanding. And like we said, if you were not part of the last show, please, you need to go and watch it. There are gatekeepers in Egypt, in ancient Egypt, who ensured that the systems of this world kept people from developing this capacity. In fact, the Abraham Maslow educational system that created for us the current educational system that we run is trying to ensure that we do not develop these capacities. So, because you're going to become super rich if you develop these capacities. I can go on and on. Let me give you a third one. There are many people who've told me on the job, after some years of doing a task, and I'll use customer service as an example. Anyone that's a customer service executive here would know. After some months or weeks in the call center, if you've ever done it, please, if you've seen it before, type in the chat. I worked in the call center many years ago. When you pick the phone and say, hello, good afternoon. My name is David. How may I help you? Airtel call center talking. In that split second, you know what the person wants to talk about. A strong, unusual knowing. I mean, you even know the scripts. I mean, once you hear, some people will breathe. You know trouble has come. You even write on your notepad or on the system notepad, trouble, irate. You quickly sub-profile the person. Anyone who's worked customer service knows what I'm saying. After 6 to 8 months and listening to 120 calls under 2-3 minutes, your brain learns to figure out. It took me years in the call center to find out that inside people's breathing patterns are coded information. How angry someone is, how happy they are. But many of us cannot read that information because we're not poised to read it. Now, when I saw that in customer service and I went into medicine, and I got close people who are medical doctors around me, and we spoke a lot. A friend of mine, Dr. Busi, probably is listening to me now, was the first person I asked that question. And he told me, he said, yes. He said, inside the breathing patterns of a patient is the level of pain and discomfort, happiness and joy. He began to give me different kinds of coded information as in people's breathing pattern. all the way from the animal kingdom. How much a dog is uncomfortable, you can know in the dog's breathing pattern, the dog's barking pattern. Even though we don't have words, veterinary doctors have found a way to bond, which is actually the mystery of Dr. Doolittle. So there are all these kinds of intelligences, and you don't need words. That is how Steve Jobs was able. He doesn't do customer survey. He doesn't ask you what you want in next product. He just goes ahead and does it. He has learned the heart of at the heart of this matter. He has learned the art and science of listening and hearing beyond words from the life of his customer. He can do pain analysis or pleasure analysis, and he will get the product right. And there's been no Apple product since they started that model that doesn't work. It is a science. You can use intuition, and that's the way to be a genius. Those that use their intuition are the ones that will be the top 1% in the world. And there's a system in this world to ensure that you are too busy, too stressed, too tired, too angry, too bitter, too tax-paying for you to even spend 1 hour on your subconscious mind to help you develop this capacity. I'll yield the mic there, so because I know people have a lot of questions, and one or two person want to take me up my challenge. I can get questions about this. Sorry, my voice went up. I love this conversation. Anyway, to you.
I can hear your excitement, but I think there is. Oh no, we just lost Emeka. Really, that's unfortunate. I think our intuition. The different ways I look at it, but this I've learned lately. I've learned recently. Before, if you talked to me a year ago, I might have looked at you and said, I'm not sure. I hear that when we pray, it's us talking to God. So we need to make that space for God to talk to us.
Yeah,
that's intuition to me.
Yeah,
it's a knowing that we all have. I think many of us, we're quick to doubt ourselves. We're quick to doubt that intelligence because we don't know why, we don't know where it comes from, we don't know how it can be, how it can come true. So we love to have clarity, even though in truth, the great things that we do, we don't know what we're going to do until we actually do it.
Yeah,
So I think we have to trust our intuition.
Yeah,
That's the way I tend to live. But I think it starts with making time in your day to hear, to listen to your mind, to listen to your soul, to listen to yourself.
Yeah.
And I think when we learn to do that, we find answers that we least expect. Your examples is the mother's intuition, for example. But I think in every sector, we there's things that we just know, we feel it. Sometimes, I guess in humanity, we tend to dwell on the negative things we feel. Oh, he's not gonna pay me. We run with that. We go with that. And he's not gonna pay me, so I'm gonna be angry. When I speak to him, I'm gonna be even more angry. And then we just we stay in a weird place, right? But at the same time, every day we get positive positive messages from our God, from within. Which says, look at this great idea that you've been gifted to do, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I say we'll do that every day. That's my personal take. I think that when we learn to listen to our intuition, we tend to live better lives, right? Live happier lives. Am I the echo or are you the echo? I don't know. There's an echo somewhere, but we'll live. I'll stop talking now anyway. So that's just my thoughts. I wonder what your take is.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you again. We are beings of more than words. You see, we started in the thought form. Michelle said, go out and ground yourself. about echo. It's cold out there, Michelle. Although we're approaching summer very soon, though. So we're created. Words are a liability in the original realm we came from. We're created in thought. Let me explain what that means. Before your dad met your mom and decided to make a beautiful, handsome, great soul like you, it was thought first. it was an imagination or a thought. I'm going to have a son or a love. Whatever we start, it starts from the thought or imagination realm. And so we can actually, because that's where we started from. The majority of our desires and things we're going to become, we start from that realm before we go to any other thing. So you're very correct. But because we don't, many people aren't trained. There's a whole look. People have masters and PhD on the call here, and they've not gone to 1 hour of schooling about their subconscious minds and their intuitions. That's the challenge here. I would like to yield the mic. I know Emeka has 1 or 2 things to say before we go to Michael.
Exactly. So, Dr. David, that's an interesting experience that you shared there. In fact, I had to listen with total attention because the story you shared of how you started early to, get into the realms of knowledge is really mind-blowing. But I have a question to ask here concerning your dad's intuitive nature of seeing things before they happen. So the question here is, what's the place of nature and nurture in grooming this intuition? What's the place of nature and nurture? Because for him, you can say that is his nature. How did he get to that point? Is it that he was born that way, or he learned it by practice, by usage? So, of course, for those of us who are Christian, the Bible said somewhere said that it is by constant use of your discernment that you learn to discern between good and evil. So, and that speaks to nurturing. So, what's the place of nature and nurture in operating in that level of intuitive intelligence? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Emeka. That's a brilliant question. You nailed that question on the head. You're very correct. It's both of them. We already have these capacities. The Bible that you referred to also says, for we have these treasures in earthen vessels. Everyone has this treasure. Everyone has at least one unique gift in the intuitive realms. The sad thing is that we may not develop it or even know it exists. And there is knowing or awareness that it exists, discovering the architecture and dimension, and forgive my use of the word architecture, the look and feel and the operations of the gift or the capacity you have. And then we now go to the grooming of it. Because the word curriculum vitae, like I said last time, is course of your life, your innermost gift. How do you develop and tailor that one? The construct of your soul. So there's both nurture and nature. Now, my own dad and mom played some very pivotal part in nurturing my innate desires. One of the, by the age of 4 or 5, one of the problems my parents had with me was that I was loud-mouthed in asking questions. I could ask anybody anything. It was a big problem for my dad and mom. And I remember, and my dad was like, well, let's leave him. Let's just teach him how to ask questions. Of course, they'll caution me and say, don't ask people like. I once asked an uncle why his hair was white. I was about 4 or 5, and I looked at everybody. My mom told me this story that you looked at everybody one day, looked around and said, so because they are trimming, I should be raising hand because it was awkward. And then there's something that happened to me by the age of 5 or 6. My parents allowed me to speak Yoruba language at home. That I must begin to speak English, and that played out in a certain way in my life in future. When now and then I began to use big words. So my dad also had to call me when I was about 13 or 15. That please, there's something like doxology where I greet somebody, say doxology. You're talking to. I talked to my dad. I said, "Daddy, doxology." But I said, "What's wrong with this one?" We said speak English, not make people look stupid. Don't say doxology in town. There's everyday use of English. So can you see how nurture is working out for me? So the man told me, I asked my uncle, I said, excuse me. So my dad laughed when I raised my hand because my uncle was looking at, say what you want to say. I said, no, they have said I should ask questions. So I raised my hand. I said, why is he? Because we're talking about something else. So my mom and dad said, if you have something to say, different from, and you have a curious, don't kill it. Just raise yourself. We'll know you have something different to say instead of you bludgeoning people with this, your questions. I said, why is your hair white? I touched myself, why is it white? This my uncle was, well, I know he was sipping Fanta. I remember the scenario because my mom told me later that do you ever remember asking this person this question? Till now he makes jest of me. So this is a rat that asked me why my hair was white. He laughed to the point I wanted to pour the Fanta on himself. So he just gave me an answer. I said, well, life is natural. I said, when you get to my age, you will understand why. I wasn't comfortable. My dad knew that answer was not good enough for me because I wanted to know the mechanics. How can your hair be white? Everybody's hair is black. My dad's hair is black. My mom's hair is black. Why is your own white? You. So when he left, my dad now took me through the body of knowledge. He sat me down. Okay, so in biology, when people get to a certain age, their hair white becomes white because of these changes in the body and all of that. So there was nurture, no doubt. But you see, everybody has it naturally. Everyone born to this world, once you started from image and imagination, there was somebody's mind conception. Even when you had accidental, your parents didn't want to have a baby when they had you, there was still a subconscious imaginative element to your coming ab initio. You see, that's what I like the scriptures that say, for this visible world was formed from the invisible world. All persuasions, all religions, all persuasions of God will tell you that the unseen realm governs the seen realm. The buildings that we have today, the architectural edifices, if you go to any city, the roads, started from somebody's mind's ab initio. Now, that realm is very powerful. And that realm is what drives the physical world. So the bodies of knowledge and intelligence to create those new. A lot of people are kept from those new things. There's a system in place that has put regimented thinking as part of your routine. They won't allow you try to penetrate that realm. If you get there at all, they use tax and bills to call. It's a conditioning. You will be brought back to reality by economics. In fact, there's a whole economic body, and I'll use the mic now. There's a whole economic theory in behavioral economics that says don't allow people too much liberty or leeway in a system to think deep. Otherwise, they start wresting power from you. Look, this is popular in behavioral economics. Don't give people. So the tax systems of many economies were designed so that you don't have enough excess in your pocket for you to be roaming ideas up and down. So because when there's hunger, you will learn how to respect government and police. All right, I'll yield the mic. Thanks, Emeka, for that question. So,
Coach, no, look, no, you and I agree until we get to the point of people being denied. I think people don't want to believe. Last week I said they were lazy.
Yeah.
That's my. It's not. Because look, part of my answer to your question, Emeka, is simply that we create what happens. So almost nature, nurture, that almost doesn't matter. It's our intuition that creates our reality. I think people need to understand that. That's not a secret. It's a well-known fact for those who know. This is what we're trying to share with people, Emeka, and people don't want to believe us. So people believe us on, like I always say, people are fine on the 1st of the month. Maybe on the 5th they're still fine, right? I'm going to magic up 10 customers, right? By the end of the month, if I get 10 customers, I'm going to be all right this month. I'm going to pay my bills, look after my family, and do all those great things, right? So by the 15th, they're like, am I sure? There's not long left now. On the 23rd, they're in panic. They're in panic mode. Suddenly their intuition's gone out the window, right? Their dreams suddenly disappeared. Now they're back to anxiety. They're back to worry. They're back to, oh, my life is terrible. How can it be? Why can my life be so bad, right? And then when it doesn't happen, on the 30th, they're like, oh, I knew it wasn't going to happen. My life is terrible anyway. And that stuff doesn't make sense. It's not true. It can't be true. Intuition can't be that important. It's my hard work that's going to get me through. So, it's not a secret. It's people who choose to harm ourselves, our chances. I think those who truly understand, believe you me, look, I've seen it happen so many times. It's happened to me so many times. And I say, where are we now? We're in March, February. And I remember sitting there thinking, right, it's 20th. Where are those customers going to come from? Really? Where are they going to come from? I'm like, I still believe that they will come, right? I'll be all right. I'm always all right. So I believe I will just keep doing what I do, and I'll keep doing what I do well, right? Suddenly I had 3 referrals from people, 3 referrals that came good. Coach David's one of those referrals. And I had 3 new customers. I can say now, I'm saying we need to learn to hold on to the faith, because that's how we create the reality we want. A lot of people will ditch the faith go back to creating doom. Nothing ever works. I'm always miserable. I'm always poor. I knew I couldn't do it. Then suddenly you're creating your own nightmare, almost without realizing. That's my take on your question, my friend. You're welcome to come back if you want. If you want to come back, please feel free. Otherwise, we can go to Michael.
No, I know Emeka wants to come back. Emeka, go ahead.
No. In the course of the conversation now, I can chime in. I have the link to the back end now.
So okay, so yes, just to add to what Enya said, in addition to what Enya said, apart from nature, you also have to believe. In fact, let me give us a formula there. Achievements equal to the natural intuitive gift you have multiplied by or raised to the power of how you nurture it. Level of achievement is equal to level of greatness, level of success, level of outstanding personal breakthrough is equal to your nature, your natural gift or capacity multiplied by or raised to the power of your nurture or how you are able to nurture it. And that includes your belief systems. There are very gifted people who have not been able to do much with their gifts. In fact, you've got to also believe you have that gift. So some people will say it's a function y equals f of x. If you do not believe that that gift is there, it will not serve you. In fact, the level of success or the level of, you must believe that you have it because it's intangible, unseen, and that's the greatest capital in the world. The unseen, unheard, untapped capital of the raw state is still the biggest one. The belief that we can even dare to create anything. I think it was Madiba, Nelson Mandela, the great man who said, tomorrow morning, the sun will always rise. Tomorrow morning, it is sure that the sun is going to come up again. But what is also sure is that our problems will also come to us as Africans. Our problems are here with us. They also will rise up with us in the morning. He said, but observe that I did not say the problems first. I said tomorrow morning, the sun will rise again. That's the first that came out of my mouth. So what is the construct of our lives? Is it half full or half empty? Because if you say, I don't have anything, you don't have it. If you say you have something, you have it. The problem with this construct is that in this realm, it is your own belief system. That is all the capital you have access to. The tragedy of life, like I said earlier, is that you never, ever, ever met yourself. So you are battling with self-belief, self-orientation, self-acceptance. In fact, the list of the selves are about 20 of them on a self that you never even met. So if you don't believe ab initio that there's a self that is worthy to be met, if, for example, you met an uncle, cousin, brother, auntie, sister who abused you, or you met friends and family who did something negative to you, you probably are gone until you find that self-belief. And that's the foundation upon which a lot of success will be crafted. So look, why would I put myself out there? Why would I do all the things I'm doing? For 30 years, I've done a lot of personal work. I never came out with it until recently. Look, I have 3 books here, wrote them in a space of 6 months. There's the prophetic ecosystems and dynamics. I want to tell you what has changed about me. There's prophetic system and dynamics when we are launching April 4, and that is about 600 something pages. There is the first one, which is Practical School of Prophecy for Modern Believers. I've helped people to learn how to hear God in prophecy by themselves. The list is long. There are not less than 25 people. In fact, there are 7 of them that are notable all over the world now. I did this as a 21-year-old. Now, between then and now, how come it took me 20-something years to write this book? Belief. There's the other one, you and your prophet, how to treat prophetic relationships in your life. The difference between the person that was before and now, I had the same knowledge, I knew the same things, I could do all of these things. And look, you have no idea. Look, I don't sleep at night, not because of anything. It was Obafemi Awolowo who said it. He said, when I paraphrase in his book, Voice of Wisdom or Voice of Reason, I don't like everything about the man, but a couple of things inspired me. He said, when my mate and colleagues are spending their time in the corridors of power, spending money with women of easy virtue and taking very strong drinks and intoxifying themselves, I spend my time and my energy thinking about the problems of our nation and the coming generation to see how we can leave the world a better place for us and our children's children. And it's a marked difference how the man lived his life. Now, I am studying most of the time in the night, how would we keep our world safer? How would our cities be attacked in the future? I am not fluffing. I am not trying to show off. Look, all my friends who know me know my foray in the middle of the night started as a teenager. My math, physics, chemistry, biology breakthrough started in the middle of the night. My mom identified that I was a night meridian personality. I'm talking about self-belief. I've always been like this. The only difference is for the first time, I'm coming out to say there's a lot that we can do for the world. There's a lot we can train and teach people at. So I said all of this in the night. And that's my lifestyle. How will we be attacked in the future? Those are things that keep me awake now. How will we be attacked in the future? How will the enemies of civilization attack humanity? How do we keep the world safer? How do we get people out of the poverty wrong? How do we deal with the poverty, lack of water in some places on the earth? I'm telling you what keeps me awake in the night. Now, beyond all of those, I must not deploy worry. I must deploy all the forces of intelligence. So I have a choice to believe because problems are overwhelming. Some of them, because I'm a systems man, I understand stuff. I understand nations. There's some very heavy issues on the earth today that, look, no leader can solve. Not because they don't want to solve it. You see the Ukraine problem right there is beyond Donald Trump and Zelensky. The matter has gone beyond Putin. It is an Indo-Chinese civilization battle. Indian, Chinese versus civilization of the West is a precipitate and a template, a problem that is not less than 50-something years old. And I dare say maybe 100 years old. The problem in that region is beyond those guys. They're just puppets. They're trying to pull. Donald Trump is now using a existentialism of his own economy. Let me save myself and my people. I don't want problem. And then people are telling him, we start a war there and all of that. What am I saying? We can choose to deploy worry, or we can choose to deploy belief and deploy action. And the world is waiting for many of us. Emeka is doing super work in Africa around farmers. We have a food crisis in Africa that is knocking the door. Oh, by the way, let me say this. There is a famine that is being projected for 2030 to 2050. In between those years, there's a 5-year period all over the world that they are projecting famine. And some analysts are saying the time is coming closer. 2025 is a year that's been said before, 3 years ago, that we're going to have famine. Now, guys like Emeka are very important to help us to solve that problem. And I wish I knew what Michael is also doing. Michael, you're going to yield the mic to you shortly. We can deploy belief, like Annie said, to any problem. To even believe, even though we don't know the answer, we can deploy belief, or we can throw in the towel. We can say, oh, it's gone. But if you check human civilization, we didn't overcome the difficult viruses of the past by losing faith. Penicillin was discovered after many people had died, but we didn't lose faith. If we don't lose faith, then we have a chance at success. All right. Thank you. Let me yield the mic. And that's me talking about belief and your intuition. You must believe that you have this thing within you and you can achieve it. Thank you so much.
I totally agree with you. You know, when we believe, we create the reality of what we believe, right? If we don't believe, then we don't create that reality. We create the opposite.
Yep.
You know, belief is everything. You know, and Emeka, I'll come back to you because we lost Michael for a second. So, you know, I guess now, what are you thinking now? You know, how do we build this intuition capital?
Yeah. So, drawing from my personal experience, I think I agree with the whole thing Dr. David said about our belief system creating our reality, because I came from a space where many things were thought impossible, but somehow I saw beyond the realms of what was thought possible in my space. So much so that if I spoke out what I was thinking, everybody thought I was elusive, right? You know, that this guy, where is he getting all these things from? And then I wasn't even watching so many movies. I wasn't even seeing those things from movies, but I had them somewhere in my subconscious, but I can't really get anybody to come into my world to see the possibility of what I was thinking. Nobody could say it. So the least I could do in my space was to begin to translate some of the things I had in my mind, some of the things I had seen in my mind's eye to become reality. For instance, I had always loved agriculture because I saw in real life what it can do to a family. Because a time came when my family had very difficult times. So my mom began raising home gardens, and I was supporting her. Then at one point, my mom believed that anything a maker plants thrives. So it happened that if you want to plant anything, if you want to begin the farming season, she will say, please, everybody wait. Let Emeka come and sow the first seed. And true to her word, everything I planted thrived. So some of those things made me to believe that I can actually solve the problem of food insecurity in my space. And guess what? I got to it. I got into it, started cultivating as a little boy of 8 years old. Before you know it, the entire locality, vicinity, community started cultivating vegetables in their backyards. And that way, families were able to save up some money, that they would have spent otherwise spent on grocery and all that. So you now see from my little world of imagination, I began to translate so many things, what I was thinking in my mind, into reality. A community that has access to food, community that have their food sources in their backyards. Over the years, all of these things, the picture I saw in my mind had led me this far. I'm now thinking about it in a Pan-African level, in a national level, in even a global level. So that goes to agree with what Dr. David said about belief, our belief system creating our reality, because I shouldn't wait, or I shouldn't have waited, or if I had waited for anybody to come into my word to see what I had seen, or before the belief in what I believe, I may not have done anything. So men who have caused change in the world are men who believed in the reality of their own dreams before it ever came out into the full view for the whole world to see and say, oh, I believe what you're doing. So it has to come from the place of self-belief that will translate into action. And that action is what yields the result that everybody sees and then believes. So intuition all the way. Thank you, sir.
And Emeka, what you're saying is so powerful. You see, at the end of the day, maybe our intuition is all we have. So the first thing is to even be, so how do you understand your intuition? Is to even believe that you're more than this, that there's a bigger possibility out there. Look, there's no achievement, we said it the last time that you had, that didn't start from you. Thank you for that, Gem, Emeka. That didn't start from you believing. Here is the funny thing. How did your mom install that belief system in you? By just saying it to people, if you want to plant anything, Emeka plants thrives. That's a powerful one from a mother. Anything Emeka plants thrive. And it doesn't cost anything to install that belief system in young Emeka. Look at where that belief system has led you up to today. You are helping a lot of farmers. Let me tell you this, guys. I've watched Emeka, and I'm not saying this lightly. If Emeka comes in touch with a local farmer, that person's farm begins to do well. Belief is capital. That person's farm begins to do well. Emeka infects into the farmers beyond processes, beyond systems, beyond technology, because Emeka has all of that. The farmer begins to believe, and belief is infectious. I have a plan, and I've had it. I don't have like pessimistic people around me anymore. Once you talk nonsense, once your majority of your life is no, once you are very bitter, I will begin to reverse from you in installment. You know what's reversal by installment? I will be saying hi. Once you say hi, I say, hey. Then say, I'm not beating you. I'm beginning to withdraw from hi to and I'm moving back. But seriously, because it's a force field. Your intuition and your life is a force field. And there's a force field of your belief system. If you surround yourself with people who are giving you energy as you are giving it back, it builds up systematically. If I said to Emeka, you can do it, and he says, yes, I can do it. And then he tells me, Dr. David, you can do it. I say, yes, you can do it. And then we keep bantering. After a while, it grows. And before you know it, we begin to dare things that are far bigger than our understanding. So before your intellectual capital, the first place is to start from your belief capital. What really do you think is possible? And this belief system has a look, has a feel, has a size. It's a matter of private inner conversations. What conversations are holding in between your ears? What are the things, what are the images, the pictures that are in your mind that you hold there for a long time? And especially the ones that you keep seeing again and again, the principle of the dominant thought, desire, or imagination. I think it was Dr. Newton Sidney Bremer in that book who said, whatever you vividly imagine, wholeheartedly desire, shall inevitably come to pass. Now, this quote I'm telling you, I learned at 10 with some cane from my dad. Whatever you vividly imagine, you say after me, whatever you, as I'm eating, say after me, whatever you vividly imagine, wholeheartedly desire shall inevitably come to pass. Whatever you vividly imagine, that's the first step. Wholeheartedly desire shall inevitably come to pass. So that's the first building block, to believe that you have this intuition and you can work. Number one. Number two, life and systems and opportunity, we play the game of your intuition at you. You will begin to observe as you believe. If you don't believe, first of all, you can't go to observation, because what you don't believe exists, you can't pick up the data. You can't say you want to begin to look out for it. Your brain begins to see possibilities where there's, first of all, that suggestion from your belief system. And the deeper your belief system, the higher will be your ability to recognize. Your eyes becomes higher calibrated. Your ears become higher calibrated. You are tuned to receive from that frequency of your belief system more. A lot of people are trying to look for their intuition with no base of expectation about who they are or what they have ab initio. No, if you do that, you are leaving yourself to different kinds of signals, and some of them may actually discourage you. So the first place to start is when you have it, and then when you have it, you begin to look out for it. What are my own moments of genius? Write it down. What times of the day do I feel the most energized? What movies, what ideas give me the kick? What friends around me bring out the best? What moment of my life has given me the strongest capital of results? What seasons is called pattern identification and decoding that gives birth to pattern intelligence? Make no mistake, I have studied these things for almost 3 decades. If I meet you in 30 seconds, I can tell you, not observing your patterns, who you are and what's going on in your psycho-emotional space. Don't even go there.
It's true. Look, I remember when you and I met and you said those words. I'm like, go on then, tell me who I am then. He did. He did. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. All right. Like, you can see things.
Yeah.
I remember that very clearly. Look, there's a question I want to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure our friends are asking, and I think you answered when you gave the equation earlier. It's a question of where does our skill level come into this? Yeah,
it does. It does. That's practice. That's nurture. After you've identified, that's the next stage. After you have identified it, Michelle says, "What do you see in me?" Come into the studio now, Michelle. I need to either hear your voice, or I can use your name. I develop mine. I can use your name to tell you about you. Hello, can everyone hear me?
Welcome to the studio, my friend. The link is in the comments. If you want a link to join the studio, then just put in the comments. Send me the link. I'll send it to your DM. I've sent the link to many people. So if you want to join us, please feel free.
Yes, I can also speak about Michelle immediately. Michelle, you are a very curious person. You are curious and you have a question in mind. You seldom take no for an answer when you're looking for information, and you don't like boring stuff, and you don't like to be too quiet or too docile. You always want to put your mark and your excellence. Some of your friends think you are compulsive. Some of your friends may even think you're too much, and you never give up. And you're always looking for evolution of the next thing. Your picture 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. You're always improving and looking for the next place to improve. And you're not afraid to start again and again. And you always put your mouth where your money is. Some development. You always have a new book. You're pursuing a new idea. You're somebody you're meeting. Your hyper fast forward personality. That's kind of person you are. And I can do this for anyone. I can use your name, your phone number. I can use anything to do this. I've developed over the years. Now, these 30 years of development going on, I had the gift and I
Sorry.
began to develop it.
Is this best described as prophecy or intuition? What's
It's
the
a
line
combi-
between this and prophecy, really?
That's a brilliant master question, Emeka. Thank you for asking that. Now,
But remember when I started Emeka, I said his book is called Prophecy, the Prophecy, Dynamics, and and how it works.
Yes,
Right. And the ecosystem and how it works.
Yeah.
So that's part of that. So I'll let you speak, Coach David. That's why it really.
Yeah, it's a combination of I am a combination of all of those things. Intuition refers to the natural abilities that every human being has. Every human being has it. In fact, animals have it. Michelle says, I'm like a feral spider monkey, spider monkey, beaten by the spider bug. Energy everywhere. Yeah. If anyone on the call you want to do anything in life, make Michelle your accountability partner. That thing is done. Michelle will harass you, hound you, bug you until you do it. She is an achievement freak and she loves it when she does it for people. And she does it for free and for kind. She's the go-to person, and that's kind of aura around her. So there is intuition. To answer you, Emeka, there's intuition that all of us have. In fact, animals have it. That's why dogs are now used for therapy. When you're unhappy, your dogs know. Donkeys have it. In the NHS, there are animals that do therapy. So animals have it. Organisms have it. It's through the animal kingdom. Plants is being shown that plants can respond to some level of stimulus of emotions. There's some experiments that are suggesting that when people are very sad, there are plants that soothe them. There are plants that can soothe human beings. There's some research. Dr. Amaka will help me to check that fact up. But there are bodies of knowledge saying that organisms can relate below the Homo sapien level with some intuition, with some communication beyond work, beyond physical work and physicalities. So that's intuition. There is now a higher level, which is when you now get born again. And some will say it's enlightenment. That's for them. But for me, because I'm a Christian leader and a teacher, and I'm a pastor in quotes, I'm a spiritual leader, but I also have read and studied and researched these areas because it's part of my major work. You now get renewed. So your spirit senses, your ability in your spirit is quickened. What we lost at the Adamic fall is quickened. And so we are now renewed. And so your spiritual eyes, your spiritual ears, your spiritual mind, your spiritual olfactory nerves, the ability to smell and perceive and see things beyond the natural now gets enlightened, or it gets activated stronger. That's the second level. The third level is that prophecy is a realm where God now speaks to you, or you hear from the divine in your own persuasion, because Muslims will say they also have prophecy. I've met Buddhist monks who say they are prophecy. That's fine. They believe that there is a God or an entity that superimposes and keeps the planet safe. And sorry, not safe, that keeps the planet, or created that keeps the planet. Because some people are going to fight with me that safe is a pastor's word. So in my world, in my own persuasion, yes, God keeps the planet safe. Because the Bible says he makes wars to cease to the ends of the earth. You understand? But some people will say, why is there, if a lot of conversations will start coming up. But anyway, there is when that entity speaks, because you were born, everyone born to this world was born under a prophecy or under a divine agenda. And please, words are not meanings. Words are not meanings. It's human beings that attach words to meanings. We saw house, we attached things to it. So that there is an overriding thought, imagination, idea, which we call prophecy, under which you were born, or for which you were born, or for that instance in your life. That's what we're going to be discussing next week, Friday, by the way, for those who want to come. How do you know those things? How do you know what has been said concerning you? How do you know what has been written concerning you? How do you know what you should live by? Everyone has them. And by the time we decode, you're going to see you have them. So just like I told you that we are more than this, mothers know. Babies and mothers interact without words, at a distance between the markets, and where the woman is, and the baby is at home, the mother's in the market, a 30 minutes ride, and the woman knows that her baby is crying. I've seen people travel 3 days distance where their family are, and they're like, my baby is uncomfortable at home. Something's going on. How did she know? She's so sure. And there was no GSM in those days. And by the time she got home, the baby was very ill. The moment she held her baby, the baby, all symptoms dropped. Those are very strange things that, like, what do you call them? Pediatricians will tell you real. Pediatricians see it every day. They're not even perturbed about it. Let me give you a last one. So Emeka, I hope I answered your question about distinction. So within prophecy now, there is level 1, level 2, up to about 5 levels of prophecy and what they mean, and that's for the Christian. If you're not a Christian, if you belong to other persuasions, there's how the divine or whatever your persuasion speaks to you. I've studied it enough to know, by the way, that God doesn't speak to Christians alone. God speaks to everybody. And I have biblical proof and non-biblical proof that God speaks to everybody.
I don't believe in religion, but I know there's a greater power. That's why I said again earlier that when I meditate, there's a God speaking to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's God's telling me what I need to know, what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whereas when I pray, it's me talking to God. If you think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's making that space to hear whatever you believe in is telling you. And Emeka and I, look, you are clearly one of a kind in the sense that, you know, to anyone who takes on the impossible, it means that you understand some of what we're talking about here today. Clearly you do. You know, I say, no, my mission is to get other people to understand it. Michael, I'm going to come to you next, right now, in a second, right? So don't disappear again, please. When I come to you, you tend to run away. I don't know where you go. You know, but Coach David, I think trying to get people to understand their power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how much, you know, when you have a divine gift, then it's a power. It's a unique power that we all have. It's whether we're willing to believe it and then go and live it. Because that's where our joy really lies. That's why I look at life. And again, Coach David and I met less than a month ago, but I get the messages that he's sharing because I know he's correct. You know, I don't say that because I want you to go and buy his book. I say that because I think, you know, when you learn the simple principles in life, you want to share it with other people. You know, that's you just want to share it because the principles are not so hard, are they? Really, Coach David?
They're not.
They are, you know, they're only a few, and I'm saying a few being 12, 14 if you want to extend it. But if you understand, you know, and I say this because all mindset teaching comes down to 12 principles really. A few more if you want to extend, if you want to put a few more subheadings in. But you know, if you understand those and live by those, our lives are transformed. That's why I do what I do, my friends. Look, let me say this before I go to Michael. If you're on my YouTube, please do the right thing. Like today's video, you know, comment, and of course, subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already. I think it's both Michelle's on my YouTube. If you're someone else, please subscribe. Make yourself known on my channel. Coach David, sorry to interrupt you. You know, if you want to finish off, then I'll bring Michael up, unless you want to bring Michael up now.
Yeah, I mean, let's hear Michael. So I was just talking about how to develop your intuition. Number 1, believe. Number 2, be aware, study yourself, watch it. There's some questions I said earlier, write them down. Number 3 is that begin now to deploy and develop. When you understand the architecture, we can now design exercises to develop your own specific kind of intuition. Michelle, I hope I was right with your analysis. I've done this before. I mean, I did a whole class of 40 people on phone, and I met all of them on phone, and I told them who they were. Because especially at the intuitive level, it was very powerful. So everyone has a specific design. Discover that design. Begin to develop yourself in line with your own design, and stop gazing at other people's gifts. Stop gazing at other people's genius. Focus on yourself. There's gold and treasure within you. You are a bank of superior value. You have no idea how big you are on the inside. And if you think it's a joke, slide into my DM, and I'm going to tell you. I mean, if you think this is Look, everybody was fearfully and wonderfully made. When God made us, he made us fearfully. He made us, you know, there's something that are more than words. That everybody is I'm looking for the words and it's look, because I've seen stuff.
it's great. It's greatness that lies within Coach David. It's greatness, and again, this sounds like a weird way to live. I live this way. I live the way of believing I'm the greatest at what I do. I really am. Maybe you don't see it. Maybe you don't agree. Maybe I haven't shown it to you yet. But deep down, I know I'm the greatest at what I do. That's why I do what to do every day, and the results just get nearer and nearer to proving my greatness.
Yeah,
That's why I
and you
love
know
this
what?
conversation.
I agree with you, Annie. You are the grandfather of LinkedIn. And if you want to have fame, talk to Annie. Annie is a superhero. I'm not saying that, and he does it simply without fluff. He does it simply without fluff, with no stress.
Do you know what's weird, Coach David? And I said, Michael, then please be ready, right? I set my what to call it? My moniker, my tagline in 2015. I said I'm gonna make you famous, right? I make you famous. In the times in 2015, people told me how many times, Coach David? 100 times, 1,000 times. Take that off your profile. Just say you're a marketer. I'm like, no, I know what I do, right? And so it's that power of belief in what you do and your gift. I'm most. It's not. Am I surprised? Not really, but no. In 2024, the tools to do what I said I'd do suddenly fell into my lap. Now, when I say I make you famous, people don't laugh anymore. They suddenly realize I'm deadly serious. They realize it's deadly true, and I will do more than just marketing. I will make you famous. I make people actually know who you are. It's funny how that started 10 years ago. Taking me 10 years to start living it the way I dreamt of when I started it. It's weird, right? Believe in yourselves, my friends. That's the thing. Michael, I'm glad you came back. How are you doing, my brother?
Michael, how are you
Doing
today?
well. How you doing?
I'm
Hi,
good.
Dr. Coach. How you doing?
I'm fine, Michael. Good to hear from you again.
Yeah, same here. I'm glad that you're back and you're back with your book and you're
Yeah,
marketing your
thank you.
book and you're talking
Thank
about it
you.
because I'm very interested in buying it
Oh, thank
and
you.
I want to be the first person to get it.
Don't buy it yet,
Yeah.
please. Don't buy it yet. Don't buy it yet, Michael. Wait till we get there on the book launch day. Otherwise, it will miss. Your purchase doesn't count.
Oh, okay. All right.
Be
Just
patient,
make sure you include me in there so that
All
Michael.
right.
Do I ever leave you out? Of course, I always include you, but you know that already, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely know that. It's part of your ritual and I like it. Anyway, um Coach,
Yep.
I've got a question for you, and
All
I
right. Go ahead.
and I think you've already answered it in so many ways, but I
All
want to
right.
be direct.
Okay.
Um, it is in regards to the I know that let me explain it this way. I know that there is a spirit realm out there, and I know that our ancestors in the past used to be in touch with it in order to find the answers that we needed in order to build the structures and even to actually advance ourselves
Mm,
scientifically, the way you put it, the way folks would put it in today's world scientifically.
mm,
But
mm,
and it's more to do with advancing ourselves in the environment that we live in.
mm-hmm.
Um, is that what you are referring to, or are there other aspects? Or of this region that you may be talking about. Now, I have also taken into consideration that there is not only just the spirit world, but there's also the universe as well. And the universe is in alignment with the spirit world. And it is up to us to be in alignment with either one of them in order to get the great myths that we're actually seeking to
Yeah.
advance ourselves in this world.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit?
Okay. Well, the link we have with the answer. Oof, there's a lot. You're asking a lot in a short space.
I'm
Uh,
sorry, coach. Your mind is so brilliant. I am pretty sure you can make it concise.
I'll try. I'll try.
Enough
No,
for
no,
to fit in Annie's world, at least.
yeah. Yeah. What I'm describing is around the capacities we have within us and our original creation. That is the context of this conversation, and the fact that we can bring that to work every day, and we can bring that to work to make our world better. And the little time we have, the dash in between the day we were born and the day we're departing this planet, can be much more fruitful, because we will leave this world any day at some point in time. Everybody came in, and then we will also leave. Lisa in the room. Lisa, how are you? I see you. Thank you for coming. That's the first thing I like to say. I'm talking about the context of the conversation is around the genius within us, and the genius that lies within us, and how to uncover that and use that at work and in life. That's the big conversation I'm having. Your question around ancestors and ancestral leanings, slightly deep, but I would like to make a couple of points. Just the same way parents give birth to children, and by genetics and DNA in between the blood and in between nature and nurture, you transfer things to your children, progeny, and offspring. Simple thing.
Right.
The only difference is that there's a spiritual part of DNA. There's a spiritual part of the blood. A daughter or a son who has not seen the father before or the mother before begins to behave a certain way like them. And people are like, who showed you that? Who trained you that? You didn't meet your father or your mother. How are you behaving that? There is what can be transferred by genetics and by the blood. Behavioral traits, I would say they are in the realm of the mind and in the spirit, and the child receives all of those. That is the link. That's the link about ancestors, and now we cannot expand it. Although it can be preyed upon and exploited by necromancy, which is a dark art and a dark science of occultism. And I don't encourage anyone to go through it or to go to them. It's one of the deepest levels of evil that the planet has found itself, and I don't encourage anyone to go into necromancy, because it's a very dangerous thing. And people have been known to run mad or even die by doing necromancy. I encourage you to, please, everyone listening to me, to be careful around necromancy, which is speaking to the dead or hearing your ancestors. And in South Africa and the region you come from, Michael, I'm aware this is a very known practice, and they are safe, in quotes, sangomas who do these things. I am slightly, my research and my understanding of it behind the scene is tough. It won't allow me encourage anyone to go do it. But I've seen some people who've done it, and they said they got some results. I won't do it. I won't encourage anyone to go in that direction. So that's the second point I'd like to make. Although there is evidence that parents or people in the afterlife are concerned about the well-being of their relatives on the earth, although the argument in the spirit in many especially Christian persuasion, is it could be demonized. Some will say it's not, some say it is. Either way, until you research what's going on and you know what's going on, don't dabble. Make sure you're clear about what you're doing, so that you don't now carry more problems, because you're looking for a solution. So that's where I put that. There's a third part you asked: the universe and the earth. So the universe and the spirit. There is the world and the earth, and they are two different things. The book of Psalms is what I will use to explain that one. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So there's the earth and the fullness thereof. The world and those that dwell therein. There's the world and those that dwell therein. So the world refers to the human beings, and the things that physically are inside the earth that are the occupant, the world, that's the world. And those that are therein refer to human beings and the systems there. The earth is infrastructure. The earth is the Lord and the fullness. The fullness refers to plantation, vegetation, and all of that. There is the cosmos, or what you call the universe. And I don't want to lose people now. I'll keep quiet in about 30 seconds now. That is also another entity that refers to the entire galactic systems. They are intertwined and interrelated, and at the height of growing your spiritual being, you will encounter all of these systems. And if you align yourself properly, you will eventually be able to align, because the secret of interacting with these elements is still you growing your inner man or your spirit man or your internal essence. That is the only way you can actually maximize relationship with all of these entities. So let me leave at that. I don't know whether I have over step my bounds in a little, but that's a deep conversation that you're packed into a little in a little answer.
Okay. I certainly appreciate you tackling it in the way that you did, and I do
Yeah,
understand what you're referring to in terms of in with respect to necromancy. It
yeah,
is definitely a dark art, and it is certainly definitely an art to um, not to go willy-nilly into,
yeah,
because the results can be devastating and very negative for you and your spirit as well.
yep, yep,
And it also has the ability to affect your entire family,
yep,
which is something you definitely want to stay very far and clear of.
yep. Away from, yeah,
Your book, unfortunately, will be received well, I believe. But at the same time, since we are familiar with necromancy, it will also be received with some skepticism as well,
yeah,
um, unfortunately.
yeah,
And certainly, I hope that your book clarifies that at some point later on when you make an extra revision, delve into that arena of necromancy and explain its its positiveness and also its negativeness, because it is certainly something um, that needs to be that needs to be written down with a fine point of authority outside of religion.
I agree, and I intend to do some thank you for that. I intend to do some intellectual work around and I won't call it necromancy. I
Hmm.
won't call that research work necromancy because I don't want to alienate anyone. I'll
Hmm.
call it ancestral, or what you call links, and I will start from the standpoint of biology. I'm a
Hmm.
scientist first of all, and I like to start from science.
Hmm.
And I'll make the fine line of my experiences and what I think works and what doesn't work.
Hmm.
People have been misled, lied to, and preyed upon by those things. But there's
Hmm.
also evidence of people that have been saved. And I'm not joking. People that really have had results in their lives because of revelations from a dead relative and all of those and all of those. And let me tell you,
Hmm.
when people die, their existence does not end. When people die,
Aha.
their existence does not end. Look, I just spoke about my late mom. She's late today, but
Hmm.
the kind of things she put into me in terms of reading books, they are not
Right.
dead. And
Hmm.
I've written a book today. That's not dead. In fact, let me tell you the story, my authorship story. My mom
Please do.
said to me, I was 10 when I said I wanted to write a novel.
Hmm.
So my maternal grandpa, that's the father who gave birth to my mom for Africans. When you use phrases like the father of my mother, Africans can be
Hmm.
confusing.
Hmm.
So that
And what was his name? Hmm.
that's Papa, we call him Pa Ezekiel. That's his name.
Ezekiel.
Elderly
Okay.
man. Elderly.
Hmm.
So he was sitting in the sitting room, bless his soul, was sitting in the sitting room.
Hmm.
And I said to my mom in the kitchen that I wanted to, uh, write a book. And my partner, uh, my grandfather, the father of
Hmm.
my mom,
Hmm.
heard me. So when I took his food to him, he said, "You want to write a book?" I said, "I want to write a book." He said, "Good." He was the distributor of the Macmillan books in the whole of the Southwest.
Hmm.
He said he
Hmm.
finished the book. So what's the book about? It says about Ali and how Ali became successful, who was a very
Hmm.
enfant terrible before, but Ali now became successful. He said,
Mm,
well, if you finish the book, I'll take the book to Macmillan Publishers, who were the
mm-hmm,
leading publishing company, a books publishing company in the southwestern part of Nigeria at the time. He was the
mm-hmm,
distributor for the southwest. He said,
mm-hmm.
and I will make sure that they publish your book for free.
Wow, that was a big thing. Mm-hmm.
Of course, the book did not come out.
Oh, wait a minute. Why was that? Is it because of the truism within it?
No, 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 no. Some other things began to happen to me. I
Mm-hmm,
hit physics, chemistry, and biology, and I
mm-hmm,
was trying to be an engineer. So when I hit
mm-hmm,
physics, chemistry, and biology, desire to write this kind of books. This Ali book just died in natural death. So I was trying to get into my first degree over the years. But you see, this is the story behind the inspiration of this book, the first book I wrote.
mm-hmm,
Now, that my grandfather's utterance about taking the book to publishers, the
mm-hmm,
day this book came up on Amazon, I cried because I could see the man's face, I could see my mom, I could see them, and I could see in my mind, I was like, I was just about 10.
mm-hmm,
That year would be 1989, if I'm right. I was
mm-hmm,
about 10. That's 1989. The man is
mm-hmm,
gone now, but the way he said he was going to take my book to the publisher, just the way Emeka's mom told Emeka that if you want anything to survive, talk to Emeka. Now look at what Emeka is doing today. It's beyond his degree. He's that feeling that Emeka, whenever he puts a seed in the ground, he he succeeds. One of the
mm-hmm,
core assignments of parenting and grandparenting is scripting destinies, is to pass unwritten programs into the subconscious of children and script them for greatness.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So that part, whether they are alive or dead, the program keeps living. So we can't say somebody has died if
mm.
we can still feel their programming.
No, I
So
totally and utterly agree with you. Mm-hmm,
yes. So that's why I know that there's some positive, there's a lot of positive capital in those interactions. Although it
mm-hmm,
can be preyed upon by demons, by necromancers and spiritists who want to collect money from people.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
People
mm-hmm,
can auto suggest into your spiritual plane and do all sorts, which is why you have to be careful to understand what's going on. Don't put yourself out there. So I had to do a body of work, but those things are very deep, and you can't afford to mislead people because there's going to counter. You understand? Um,
okay.
there are loads of books in the United Kingdom and the US now around those things. Anybody who wants to, because I can send you some links about some of those books. Uh, it's just
I
that
am
I'm
not
very weary.
necessarily interested in those books. I am interested
Okay.
in the books that you write and the
Oh,
words that
thank
you
you,
pen down.
thank you,
Um, I
thank
have a
you.
particular, how should I put it? Um, how do you put it, Annie? Um,
How would I put it?
yeah, I am.
First of all, I would want to welcome Dr. Amaka. Welcome. I don't know what picture that is, Dr. Amaka. You changed your picture. I was just
Ah,
getting used to that pink one with the pink edges. But
yeah,
now here we are. Look, I think, when I listened to Coach, Dr. Amaka brought us together. So that's why I especially mentioned her. Sorry that you were lost on the LinkedIn
yeah.
hellhole. But you found your way here in the end, same as my superstar friend Lisa did as well, right? Michael, look.
Well,
So
let me. I got it,
when you
Annie.
listen to
I got it.
Coach, okay, wait,
I got it.
go on, tell us.
It's loyalty. Um,
Mm,
I'm that kind of a person. Uh, Once I grapple with somebody and I find that they have an art that I am particularly interested in, I am particularly loyal in seeking out that art
mm,
all the time. It's like seeking out peace.
mm,
I'm always seeking out peace. There's no
mm,
end to it.
mm.
So in your lifetime, so long as I know you, I will be seeking that out within you.
Oh, thank
Any,
you.
have you in like you indicated with respect to how people are endued imbued with with their ancestors' pastimes. If you actually visualize any and what he's done and what he's been able to accomplish and do in his life, and the way he conducts himself like a chieftain.
Yeah.
In his past, there was an ancestor
Yeah.
or several ancestors who were chiefs. So he
Yeah.
comes down a line of chiefs, and you can see that imbued within him. Even if he tells you he has nothing to do with it, he cannot escape it. It is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is there, and it is part of his character.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, well, it's not unfortunate. It's fortunate. It's very
Yeah.
fortunate that he was not somebody else, or his parents, or
Yeah.
his ancestors
Yeah.
were not anything else, but they were who they were, and that's why I'm able to see what I see within him. Is because
Yeah.
he comes from a line which is endowed with leadership and endowed with
Hmm.
chieftainship, endowed with um, encouraging people to be their best. And that's why he loves what he does, because only a chief can be so, how do I put it, so giving of his time and his energy,
Hmm.
and also his and freely just uh, respecting their um, ability.
Right back at you, Michael. That's what I would
Thank
say.
you.
Look, so when I look at it, hopefully it's part of the answer to your question. I think there's a weird dynamic, right? So what I see is coach who is determined to get people to understand the how life really works, right? Of
Hmm.
course, like you said, there's my bit, which as a conduit, really, to facilitate the conversations that I do. But now, is it? I think coaches' determination and intuition to create the books and to share the message is probably more important. But then part of me also feels, and I'll stop talking after this. Really, is that we are all destined to be in the right place at the right time to hear the message.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
think that's a mix, Michael. That's a weird. That's the someone that the alchemy. I think is what someone called it the other day, right?
Hmm.
It's everything going on at once to bring us to where we are today, to be here right now, talking about Coach's book.
Hmm.
And again, the questions you ask, Michael, it's not because you're a difficult man, because it's what your intuition tells you to ask. It's what your intuition tells you to
Hmm.
question or to put forward, right?
Hmm.
It's all of that. So there's no. My coach has an equation. I agree. So which is unique, which is different. I think I like people with equations. I like people who have the science. But when I talk about coach, outside the event, I always say that he knows his stuff and he really does know his stuff. The way not many do. I'm sure you've heard many mindset coaches speak, Michael, and they speak on a almost surface level.
Yeah, but the coach speaks in a manner that relates, like for instance, that mathematical formula that relates real life to um, mathematics, which is ambiguous for most people,
Hmm.
you know,
I,
and
I
they
agree.
have difficulty trying to make that kind of relationship, and yet there he is doing it so
Hmm.
easily in a manner that, and he's also explaining it in a manner that you can understand,
I
which
agree.
also delves into my other thing. That is, it's so unfortunate that he did not become a math teacher. But
It's fine. Look, no, coach. I was going to mention this. I know when you spoke earlier. Right? I think there's something about how we have to make. We make choices
Hmm.
as every day, right? And
Hmm.
the coach mentioned, he had the idea, he had the plan for a book at 10. this every day we have plans for many things, right, Michael? Now we have plans for many things. I want to do this. I want to do that. I can do this. I can do that. But the only things we get to do are the ones that we prioritize. But some things, as Coach said, I must live on, and eventually we'll come round to it. Now, I've got one of my clients. He's 92, and he wants to write. He's written this book about Nigerian war, and he wants to publish it now at 92. I'm saying, like, most of us will say, "Look, give it up, my friend. The war's over. No one cares. Why are you bothering?" Right? But these things live on. And he will eventually publish the book, whether it's me or there's someone else, who knows, right? I'm saying, but ultimately he'll get his book published. He'll tell his story that he wants to tell, because it's to tell that story, for better for worse. Maybe that story is going to influence someone, but I'm saying there's a reason why that mission lives on in him. Maybe it might work past, and then his kids have to publish a book. I'm saying our missions, our destinies, our intuition messages, if we don't prioritize them, then we don't get to do them. Maybe I'll leave it with this. A lot of people will look at you and they'll say, "Oh, he stole my idea." No, he didn't. Now, the gods gave you the idea, you didn't act on it, so they gave it to someone else. That's that. End of, right? Your idea was never just, it has to be done. That's why it was given to someone. That person was you. If you don't do it, someone else will do it. Maybe not as well as you, but they will do it somehow. They will do it in any case, right? And
that's the issue right there, is that that book still needs to be written, Coach, unfortunately, and needs to be published.
Well, what can it? Thank you for that.
And I demand
you might be right, Michael. You might be right.
I demand for it because I need it.
All right. I'll work on it. I'll work on it. I got a friend in South Africa a couple of years back, sister, I call her Sister Tulika, my good sister, who was asking me a lot of questions about this. And we started some question and answer back and forth. That would be a clean, good way to start. I'll get that material and then we can start from there.
Excellent. At least we've discussed that, and now we're on our way to something solid.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank you so
sorry
much
to
for
put
that
so much
question.
burden upon you, Coach.
No. We have
You're
to grow.
certainly in demand.
Amen. Amen.
Have you two met? Have you two done a Zoom meeting?
No, we've not. We're gonna meet certainly, because
Shame on both of you. Now get on with it, please. Obviously, you're destined to meet.
yes.
So let's take our chance at these events. What does Michelle say? No, we're about to go, my friends. Coach, great conversation, truly great conversation. I look forward to the next views. Here we've got 3 more conversations, I think.
Yes.
And then we have our book launch date. Be patient, please. Be patient, right?
Yes.
The book will be here, and the book will be for all of us to learn from.
Absolutely.
I hope everyone. I hope I hope you're right, Michael. I don't know. Actually, when you asked your question earlier, it's not that people won't like the message. I think it's more that they're not ready to implement, to change their lives. The people are most scared of success and failure, Michael. Right? And people don't act because they're scared of succeeding. I see it every day. People think a fear of failure is what destroys people. It's not. It's a fear of success. That's probably because they're not willing to do what it takes, and they're not willing to see the change in their lives that comes with truly achieving that greatness that Coach talks about. Is how do we change that mentality? That's a challenge, really. Because the preachings they're not new, Michael. They've been there for hundreds of years, literally. Go and look at Think and Grow Rich. Go and look at all those the mindsets principles. You find out what Coach talks about is pretty much in there, right? Yes, he adds a spiritual flavor to it, to what he shares. You know what I'm saying? But deep down, go on, Michael. Sorry.
I have an answer to your question. Um,
Hmm.
how do we change them? And one answer that's been very clear to me, come very clear to me, is that we need to change ourselves in order to change them.
Hmm.
Um, that's what needs to be done.
Hmm.
And I figured, you try and figure that one out, Annie. I'm gonna try and figure that one out too. I know that coach has already figured it out, but that's what between you and I and coach and the rest of the world that's listening.
Yeah, yeah. No, again, no, I'm sure you're right. No, the thing, you know, you mentioned earlier, that the way I live, I try to live, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way I be. I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying I'm hoping that we influence people to see that we're not just talking.
Hmm.
That we are achieving greatness in the way we are by believing these principles. Again, look, I'm not. I don't want anyone to leave here thinking I'm altruistic. I am to a degree, but I'm not really. I know by caring. You talked about it earlier, Michael. By helping people, the one thing I can guarantee you is that the money will come. It always does. Always has done. Always will do.
Hmm.
Right? I'm saying so. By me doing what I do, then people will. And when I say people, I'm prepared for the one person at a time change, Michael, before
Hmm.
I get on stages and talk to hundreds and thousands of them at once.
Hmm.
Again, that's the future,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
That's my responsibility. That's my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
please,
go on, please.
no, please. Michelle says that we're making a difference just by just being us. I agree with you, Michelle. I agree with you entirely.
Yes, yes. And let me just apologize. A lot of people say the link, the original event link isn't working. We will take
Yeah,
care of that
my
next.
my fault. My fault. So I tried to be smart. Coach, is LinkedIn was disconnected from my StreamYard. So I tried to
Okay.
replace me with him, but not realizing that would mean that the event link probably would not work.
Oh, all right.
Then I tried to put him back, which I'm sure I did.
Oh,
Yeah, and I have done now, but I don't know where it's streaming to. It's streaming to somewhere, but apparently it's not where we wanted it to go in the first place.
so that's all right. All right.
But we'll learn.
Apologies.
We'll learn next time. We'll learn.
Yeah.
Well,
So I just
so
like
long
to
as
put.
you've got the recording going,
Yeah,
Yes.
well, the recording is there. The recording is there it's on YouTube especially, and most of those who joined us today are on YouTube,
okay.
which is a great thing. It might sound like a bad thing, but it's a good thing for any because you get to boost my, you get to boost my numbers, right? You get to boost my viewing hours and my numbers, and but hopefully my subscribers too. Yay!
Okay. Please
I
go
feel
ahead,
bad.
coach.
Go on ahead. Go
Coach,
on. Go on. Ahead.
you're about to say something.
Yes. Yes. I was just about to say that success is never ending and failure is never final. Thanks, special thanks to Amy for what he does all the time. Thank you for bringing so much light to the conversation. What you said earlier about being ourselves is only what we have because everyone else is taking, and you everyone has a unique advantage why we came to the world. But there are systems in this world, economic systems in this world that want you and everyone listening to me to remain subpar. They want us to remain manageable. So Annie is the wizard behind the curtain that opens the curtain on the stage. Thanks for that, Michelle. And for everyone who's come today, thank you. For Michael, thank you. We'll continue the conversation next week around what's your prophecy, how to uncover your prophecy, what is the plan around your prophecy, and what are the challenges to fulfilling that, and how do you bring your prophecy to bear in your life and your career and your business, and not walk empty, so that you have some prophetic capital behind you. But on intuition, let me say this last one: you have yours, and it is real. and it is there, would you go through life looking for money when all the money of the world is inside you? Thank you. Michelle says she'll be here. Yeah, well, I've taken care of all the streaming issues. Well, please, everyone, Dr. Maka, God bless you. I thought we could have you in the studio. I'm so sad you're not here. Thank you so much. I love you too. Thank you for all you do. I really appreciate it. Thanks for linking me and Annie. And that's what bright people do. Dr. Maka is a connector of connectors. She connected me and Annie and a couple of other people who I know. Amazing woman, amazing work she's doing. So, like I was saying, you have your own intuition. And I have studied this for a while. If I tell you some things, Emmy, to surprise you, that people have lovely currencies in their being. Now they're looking for money everywhere, but they've got currency in their being. Some people have currency in their hands. And what currency is a flow, current. Some people have currency in their hands. Some people have currency in their heads. Some have currency in their legs. Some have currency around their belly. Some have currency in their spine. We are loaded with treasure of very immense value. If you know who you are, you will not be able to sleep anymore. And I'm speaking to everyone, not because you want to become wanton or reckless with your sleeping habit. No, you want to deliver to the world a point of view that is unusual, something that eyes have not seen, that ears have not heard, that has not entered into the heart of any man. There is capital within your being that is supremely important, and there are systems in this world to help you achieve those things. There are opportunities in this world to help you move into those things, and there are relationships that can move into those things. Your job is now to find them. It is the honor of the Almighty to keep things and the glory of kings to search it out. There is glory in your journey, and that's why I'm here. I'm a life design coach, intuitive design coach, intuitive and intuition coach. I've done this for almost 30 years. I know the buttons. If I meet you, I know what your genius points are, and I can bring that to work. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing serious work in this area, and I want everyone to please stay tuned. But for intuition, for those who have issues today, you couldn't watch us, please go back to the recording. It's not too long. We dealt with the issues, and thank you to Emeka and to Michael and to Annie for the miracle you did. My final word: the future is coming anyway. Death is certain anyway. Nobody's living the world alive anyway. Please break a leg to find these things out. Do everything. The 1 minute you spent, the 3 years, 10 years you spent in the past, you can't go back. But from today, you can make a difference that you're going to live now at the instance and the level of capacity that the Creator has given you. And it starts with a journey of reconciliation with your Creator and a journey of reconciling. And reconciliation and accounting is bringing debit and balance. Debit and credit together to balance. Meaning you must reconcile and come to yourself. That reconciliation and decision is the first place to start from. And then layer it with discovery and all the other beautiful things we said, nature and nurture, how to groom your gift, the architecture of your gifts and all of that. And if you want to see me, please connect with me. I want everyone, please request. I'm going to connect with you all. Looking forward to seeing you next Friday when we'll be discussing your prophecy and how to have your prophetic capital work for you in life and business and career. Annie, over to you. Thank you so much. And congratulations to Laverne for our book. I bought mine. Please, someone go buy yours. And on the 4th of April, we're also going to have mine, which is, by the way, 2 days to my birthday. So I'm taking gifts. Don't let anybody confuse you.
I like that.
Gifts for my birthday is 2 days to my birthday. No, so the gifts are from the book.
Okay.
The gift is mine. Yeah. So send me your gifts. It's April 6th. You have a whole month to prepare my gift. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
April 6th. I like that. Okay. Now, it's coming. It's coming. Thank you for buying the book. I mean that sincerely. Michelle, thank you for your lovely words. Thank you for being a beautiful soul, she says, Coach David. So I don't know. I never know what to make of John's. I'm doing you a favor, John, because I'm in a good mood. I pray for it's orphanage in Kenya where they have some challenges like lack of food and shelter and clothing and lack of clean water. Look, John, I know you're on Facebook, but the problem you have is that when you drop comments like that randomly, it feels random. Even though all of us here care, right? We can feel your pain, we can feel the need. Are we inclined to help? No, because we don't know who you are, John. I'm trying to help you. I really am. You're gonna have to show up and make some friends. And before you post your message, again, what the things we talked about today, they're not happening random, right? How are you helping people? How are you gonna help me or anyone else here in my network? That's the question you have to ask first before you say help my orphanage. And I'm just giving you the advice I give to anyone. Before my clients can ask you to buy, they have to befriend you first. They have to learn to help you first, help other people. That's how the world works. If someone reaches out to you to help you, good for them. I'll say that for sure. But Coach David, thank you for another great session. Michael, so glad you came back, Michael. But we'll talk. Dr. Amaka, we need to talk. I want to get your book done. I've had a conversation with my editor, so we need to have a conversation. Joni, I've got to go on your book tonight. So, and we're still waiting for the results to come in for Laverne's book. Thank you, everyone who bought Laverne's book. I really do appreciate all of you. You make my days so much better. You really do. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend, Michael, as well.
Thank you,
open.
everyone.
I'm open to doing audio for you.
Yeah. No, I'll come to you in good time. So look, my agreement is done. So I just need to. And I say I need to run it past Celine, and then I'll come to you. Then we can start recording your content, my friend.
I'm also open to doing audio for you, Coach, as well. Although I don't think you have any issues, but yeah,
Wow.
just open.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm sure I'm going to take you up on that offer.
All right.
The time will come. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. Achieve success with Global.Media.